So, hello everybody. Hopefully everybody's having a nice day. Today, I am being joined by GB,
Hi.
and mostly it's because I actually, while doing chores with him, I had this idea, and I was wondering, like, it's so true that why are games feeling like such a chore to play nowadays? Like, it's true. 'Cause, I mean, isn't it true for you? Because, I mean, mostly for me, games are just so boring. Like it feels like you just played them once and then you play for like half an hour and you leave. Or basically that's the way you're forced to play them, like in bursts. So let me show an example. For example, like Overwatch. Like you have like free dailies, right? You do those free dailies and then you get a bunch of XP and then that's it. Like there's nothing to it. Once you can literally do it in one match if you're lucky, or two matches. But then after you do that, that's it. Like the game is the same. It's so boring. And that's the only reason to come back, just for the Battle Pass XP, just because of that. I mean, you could get normal Battle Pass XP, but you barely get anything unless you play like in the dailies, or if you want to go grind weeklies. But I mean, you could do that in a day, and then that's it. And then you're, for the rest of the week, you're done. You're basically have to play another game unless you want to play the same game for nothing, because you don't gain anything. You barely get any XP. So I don't know. It's just feel like every game you're like supposed to like join in, do something, and then get out. There's no, how do you say this? No fun, I guess. You're just doing it because you kind of have to. I don't know. How do you feel? Is there a game you do that with?
I feel like there is a fun factor at the beginning of almost every game, including live service games. But the problem is you have to repeat that over and over and over again, just like in Overwatch, just like heists in GTA, for example, and just like in a lot of games now, especially like online live service games. That seems to be an issue that occurs over and over. And after a while, that fun factor that was there at the beginning starts to fade away because you're doing it repeatedly.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's a job. A job that you're not getting paid for, basically. You're basically actually paying them money for a job,
Yeah.
which is stupid. Okay, let's just say, for example, GTA Online, the game we're playing right now. Like, basically, it's fun at the beginning. Like, for example, let's just say you're like a level 20 and you just bought your first import-export business, right?
Right.
And basically, you just do it once, you grind money, and then you do it with all the other businesses, and you did all the missions.
Okay.
Okay, then after that, the next DLC comes out. You gotta grind the same missions that you knew. I mean, that you already know, like over and over and over again, so you can get money for the next DLC. And at that point, you already experienced everything, you know? It's like, it's a job. You're basically just grinding money with something that you just don't enjoy. Well, maybe. It depends on the person, of course. But like, for example, me, I don't enjoy any of the business missions because I've already done them all repeatedly. It's boring. It's like, for example, how do I say this? With the bunker, right?
Yeah.
With the bunker, it's just deliver this and grab from point A to point B for the most part. And it's the same mission every time. If you've done it once, you've already done it like a million times with like every other business. It's just with a different vehicle or something every single time. And at that point, once you do that mission like 3 to 4 times and you need money for the next DLC, you're going to have to replay those missions over and over again just for money. Unless you want to buy a shark card. But
Isn't that the point, though?
I know, but it's like they do it, to grind. It's like the gameplay's not fun. They do it mostly because you're forced to do it for money. There's no, like, fun for me is like, when they add the vehicles and then you can play with them. Like on free mode.
Yeah.
Because I can do whatever the hell I want. But for, like, grinding for money and, to get these things, you are basically forced to do these stupid, boring missions over and over again. Which is just not fun. And that's my problem. That they're making games not fun. Like, the main core game itself. Well, I mean, unless you have, like, a modded account. That's why people get so many modded accounts in this game.
Yes.
Mostly because they don't want to do the jobs and they get a lot of money because the game's boring as fuck. Which is true. Like, I don't know how Pat does it. I don't know how he does it, but it's just like grinding special cargo missions. Like, for example, the cargo crates.
Yeah.
That is so boring. you could not pay me to literally do those missions. Like, no. I'll never do those. It's just so boring. It's the same thing with heist. Like, once you do heist once, that's it. Once you play them once, that you experience everything. Well, unless it's like Diamond Casino and...
I think that what it comes down to is personal point of view. And there is fun factor in the game, like, for example, GTA. But when it comes to, like, grinding, for example, some people are just really, really into grinding. But even though it might be fun at first because it's new and you're doing it for the first time, but then when you're doing it, like, 5 times, 10 times, 100 times, then it gets very, very tiresome because it's the same thing over and over again, whether it's in a friend lobby now, fortunately, or in a public lobby because you're trying to make that little extra money, or you just want to challenge and see if any players come after you and your team. I don't know why you do that, but hey, you do you. But when it comes to heists, I do understand the replayability there because that was the way to make money in this game after 2015. Before that, it was just the contact missions. But with heists, the cool thing about that is that there is a replayability factor in order to get better, right? In order to have a team that becomes like well-oiled. Instead of starting off as noobs where you don't know what the hell you're doing, you're screwing up, you're making mistakes, you lose money, you barely beat it the first time, but then you start to learn the mechanics of how it works, of what you and your teammates need to do for the setups and the finale. And I think there's a bit more of a fun factor when it comes to the heists than the grinding aspect. But for those people that just do it over and over again as a form of grinding, because there are those that will grind Cayo Perico basically to grind it. They're not doing it the way that I'm envisioning it. You know, just going in with a team, just being like badasses and trying to get the elite challenge, which I'll never get. But at least there with heists, there is something there, a reason to keep doing it besides just the money. With the jobs, whether it's the hangar jobs or the biker businesses or the warehouses, the only reason why you're doing it is for the money.
Right, but at that point, are you actually playing it because you're having fun or because you have to?
Because you have to.
And that's not fun.
No, it's not. And the alternative, of course, is to get a Chore card, which is what Rockstar and Take-Two want you to do.
Right, but it leads to my point that the game is basically a chore to play. Because you're not playing for fun. You're playing because you have to.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm referring to here.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you can grind for the money and if it's fun for the first time, but when you're doing like Diamond Casino or Cayo for like the 40th time, are you playing it because you have to or because you're having fun? Because I'm gonna tell you one thing, I played those missions like twice, and every single time somebody wants to play Cayo with me or Diamond Casino, I am bored out of my mind. I literally let them do all the work. It's like, okay, you need a second person? I'll let them do all the work. I won't do anything because I don't want to do that shit. It's so boring.
It's because it's boring to you because you are interested in other things regarding GTA, like the PvP aspect, the dogfighting. There are those of us who actually enjoy the heists and love getting in there with, some friends and playing it and either having a good time, just being casual, not taking it too seriously, like Cayo Perico. If we fuck up, we just run and jump over the edge of the mansion into the water and start over, Or if we're really trying to like work our way through the OG heist or the Diamond Casino heist because we really want to get it right, then there is a lot more fun factor to me personally than the other grinding. But at the end of the day, you are right. It all is about trying to make that money. It's just that at least along the way, you can at least have some fun with the heists while making that money. But with the grinding, it's just simple grinding from point A to point B within a time limit in the hope that your stuff doesn't get destroyed by NPCs or players or your own stupid teammates because you happen to pick somebody that didn't know what the hell they were doing and they crashed their plane into a building or they drive one of the vans into the ocean.
Right. Yeah, that's so dumb. But anyways, I think that's enough about GTA. Let's move to another game we play. Fortnite. Okay. So Fortnite is the same thing. It's like me and GB, like we log in every day just to see the shop, just to see if there's anything in there.
And I don't know why we do that. And I think that's a problem a lot of people have. Even if you have enough skins, why do we have this? It's like this addiction.
Okay, so here's the thing. Okay. I think it's because of the FOMO.
Yeah.
Because you go in there and you're like, oh, okay, so I have to check it because I have 23 hours to get it. And if I don't get it, I don't know when it's gonna be available again. Even though it's shit, you still want to see what's in there just because curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more about curiosity than FOMO to me because I rarely buy anything. Because, like I said, I have enough skins.
Right.
It has to be something I'm really, really interested in before I even consider spending anything on it. That's just the way I am. But you're right. I mean, it's the same thing with Fortnite because it's the Battle Royale or Save the World or some of the other things that you do to earn XP. And the goal there is to get through the Battle Pass in order to finish the Battle Pass and the bonus content that comes with it, so that you not only like break even and get your V-Bucks back, but you also get all that time-limited content before time runs out. Because this current mid-season or crap season or shit season, whatever you used to call it.
Yeah, Wilds.
Yeah, Wilds. Yeah, that. It's almost over, thankfully, but most of us haven't really exactly been impressed by that season.
Because it was really boring. Also, the drum shotgun. I can't stand that thing.
Yeah. And the jungle.
And, I hate the jungle. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Like, at least with Mega City, it looked cool. Like, the jungle, it doesn't look cool. I always hated the jungle by this, green to it. And these vines and this annoying, like, how everything's, like, so low. And then people can attack you from the top. It's just bad positioning. So I just hate everything. It's just terrible. At least with Mega City, it looked cool. It had something to it. Even though I don't drop too much at Mega City, but at least it looks super cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah, anyways, let's go back to the chore part. So, yeah, basically with Save the World, you basically log in every day to check your dailies. Oh, can I get some Battle Pass XP? Okay, yeah, I can. Okay, so let's go in there, get our Battle Pass XP or V-Bucks if you have Founders. And again, even with V-Bucks, it's still a chore because you have to log in every day, do this stupid boring missions like...
Yeah, there's only a certain number. There's the Survivor one, there's the Atlas one.
Yeah, and those are like the best too.
And then there's C-Bot, which we always make fun of.
Quiet, please. Yeah, I always make fun of. That's the best thing that me and Red and GB have made fun of, like just making fun of the shit mode,
Yeah, because we do them over and over and over again. It's tiresome. It's like when the survival missions, you come across the same dude that has his med kit that he has to get before he leaves for the shelter, and so you have to go get his med kit. But the problem is there's like 5 of his buddies also among the survivors, and you have to go get their med kits too.
Which look the exact same.
Yeah, and wave after wave of the husks, it just gets tiresome. But the only reason why we do it is because it's another way for, you to earn V-Bucks and for the rest of us to earn XP towards the Battle Pass because we're not in a mood to jump into the Battle Royale. And we'll just try and balance it out. Sometimes Battle Royale, sometimes Save the World. Well, it depends on the season. If the season is really good, we'll spend more time in the Battle Royale. But every now and then we may try something else, like from the creator mode, if it is interesting. But a lot of times it turns out to be crap. So at the end of the day, it's the same problem in GTA and Save the World and many other online games, like you mentioned with Overwatch, or like with this season of Diablo 4, right? With the new seasons, it's going in, attacking the dungeons over and over again, and earning XP to rank up your battle pass, getting Malignant, and filling up your stash box and your inventory with all these Malignant hearts. And it's the same thing over and over again. And that's why it feels repetitive. That's why it feels like a chore. And that's the big issue with the fun factor fading away and dying in these games. Because at first, there is a fun factor. Like whenever I played through Diablo 4, I had a great time playing it. But once the season started and I was just focusing on a new character for the season instead of using my Eternal character, which I put a lot of time and effort into, I had to start over. And I don't really care to start over. I would just rather focus on using my main character to earn the XP to get through the battle pass, but you can't do that.
Yeah, and once you start over, is it basically like a chore just to get back to where you were?
Yeah. I mean, there's some things that are going to carry over from each season, a little bit of XP to help you, but the battle pass for Diablo 4 is the worst because you don't even earn enough platinum to buy the next battle pass. So,
well, with Overwatch, it's even worse because they don't even give you Overwatch coins to buy the next battle pass.
Well, that's Blizzard for you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bobby Kotick.
Yeah, but see, it's the same thing. It's like I'm playing this mode that you basically have to in order to get some sort of progression. That's also something stupid that maybe, I think we discussed that in the modern gaming video, but the super progression of having to buy having to buy like the battle pass or having to do things in order to actually do something in game, which is stupid. It's just like spending money to actually do something in the game or
Yeah.
get something, you know.
Paywall.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, like doing these stupid missions. Like, who wants to play Rescue the Survivors for fun? Like, no, you're playing that because either of a daily or because you want to. Because there's no way nobody's playing Save the World because the game's actually genuinely fun. Because let me tell you, it's not.
Well, we know for a fact it's not fun because Epic wisely switched to Battle Royale early on. They realized that Save the World wasn't gaining ground, it wasn't piquing interest, but this Battle Royale that was part of Save the World was. And so they put that in the forefront and made Save the World a supporting like aspect of the game. So even Epic obviously doesn't really think too highly of Save the World, even though they keep it around with bundles.
Yeah, but mostly because you get something else with it.
Yeah. Well, exactly, because they've set it up to where it's another way for some people with the Founders Pack to earn the V-Bucks and for everyone else to earn XP for the Battle Passes.
Yep.
But, I mean, there's so many games out there now that just add a little bit of fun, and that fun is eroded by the repetitiveness, not the replayability, mind you. Because there are games out there that have replayability. They have like a hardcore mode or like a plus mode, you know, to add more challenge to it, you know, or different outcomes to the game. And it encourages you to want to go back and play through that game. Maybe not right away, but, you know, maybe in a few weeks or a few months from now to keep coming back and replay it. Plus, everything else the games offer, like side questing, dynamics, collectibles, challenges. Very similar to a game I just finished replaying, Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption is an over 13-year-old game, but I'm amazed by how much that game still has to offer players compared to a lot of games that come out today. I mean, there's so much to that world. Not just the story and characters, but, you know, the ambiance, the music, and there's a lot of fun factor to it. I mean, yes, it's unfortunate that we didn't get a remake for it or a remaster. I really wish we would have. But the game itself is still a lot of fun. And it's sad that, you know, AAA studios have moved away from that for the most part, with a few rare exceptions, to focusing on what makes them money, like big money, ridiculous money. These live service games. And unfortunately, a lot of us play the live service games.
Yeah, and another thing that I don't like that's something that live service games do have is kill creativity.
Yeah.
They do. Because they're focusing on, like, you know, like trend chasing and what makes them money rather than making a fun experience. It's not like, you know, like playing because they're basically making games because they want to make money and they don't want to make it because it's fun. Which is stupid. I mean, like, they make the game, like, semi-fun enough to make you buy skins and all that shit.
Just enough of a hook.
Yeah, just enough of a hook. But then, like, once you see through that, or once you get tired of it, once you play for, like, a month and the honeymoon phase goes away, you're, like, done. Maybe if you love the game too much, you'll quit and then come back and then quit and come back and etc. It's a never-ending cycle.
Well, you've done that for quite a few games, like with the disaster of Battlefield 2042.
Yeah, but I think I'm done with that game.
Yeah.
I already basically got all my perks with the year one pass, so I'm done.
Yeah, but, you know, there's the same issue. I mean, it started off as a disaster, but even when they started actually fixing the issues, you still had this whole loop issue.
Right.
And with, I mean, COD, right? You have Modern Warfare 3 coming out, which they weren't going to come out with. It was supposed to be, according to Kane, a DLC, but then they expanded the DLC even after stating that they were going to do 2-year cycles instead of 1-year cycles for COD games. So I imagine that the fun factor for Modern Warfare 3 is going to be very little, and it's going to feel very similar to Modern Warfare 2, and the entire point is to make more money for Bobby Kotick and Activision Blizzard.
Right.
And there's going to be the same issue, this little hook, and it'll be enough to get you into Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer with maybe a story to it for single player, and then of course continuing to profit off of Warzone. Well, Warzone 2, because they're about to take Warzone 1 out in the back and put it down.
Yeah.
Along with everybody's cosmetics that were foolish enough to buy them.
But yeah, it's just this stupid way of, like, games are just not fun anymore. Like, unless it's like a single player game or an indie game, it's just not fun. Like, all these games are just not fun. Like, for example, like I said, Fortnite Save the World, it's not fun. Depending on the season, Fortnite's not fun, like wild, blech. GTA is boring as hell to me because, I mean, yeah, you can play with the Raiju once or twice, but once you do that, or once you play with whatever you're hooked on, that's it. At least for me, I just don't care enough. And this game is unbalanced as hell, so you can die by the most BS things, so no. And there's other games like Master Duel. It's like log in every day to get your dailies, do the missions, get out. It's basically another chore, because if you don't do those dailies, you better get ready to pay up so you can get more cards. DBD is like basically another paywall because basically the game's the same every single time. It's like the survivors do generators 5 times, and the killer is like kill them, and the difference is like how you kill them. But in order to get the different gameplay ability, you better pay up.
That's true, because while they do say they offer like a certain number of killers, a certain number of survivors, there's definitely paywalls to Dead by Daylight because each survivor, each killer that they add, adds additional like perks, abilities that you can't get with the quote-unquote base game, which forces players to either get enough shards in the game in order to buy a non-licensed survivor or killer,
which you can grind,
but it takes forever.
Yeah.
And they also have their own pass with the Rift, right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing that you have to grind for in Dead by Daylight.
It's nothing but cosmetics, to be honest. But the thing is, it's like, for example, let's just say you want to buy Save the Best for Last and all these good perks, but they're on the licensed killers. You're basically forced to buy them.
Yeah, you have no choice but to fork over real money.
For example, like I want to call a brine, right? Yeah. Because it's a really good perk.
Yeah.
Because it stops, like once you hit a generator, it regresses back to like 115% super quickly. But you have to buy Sadako for that, and she's licensed, so get ready to pay up. And then after that, the game is a chore because you gotta keep hitting survivors and keep killing them. And basically the survivors just use generators and then do more. And the gameplay itself, it's good for like a week.
Yeah.
And then that's it. You stop touching the game for like a year, and then you come back. It's like, oh, okay, well, there's a few killers. Let me buy them. And that's how it is. Like, you're basically wasting more money. And, like, I understand if it was like a licensed character, but sometimes, like, all these perks, you have to basically buy the licensed character so you can get the perks for all of them. You're kind of forced. Especially if you want, like, a good build. You're basically forced to buy every single chapter and every single character in order to do decently well. Because, this new perk might be overpowered. And in order to get that new perk, you better buy the new character.
And it's always about the meta.
It's always about the meta in these games. So you're basically forced to buy them. And once you actually get the gameplay, you'll play it for like a week and then you'll stop because the game's actually not that fun. Like for me, like it was fun for like a month. And then I got bored because the game is the same. It's hit people, do generators, and then that's it. And the difference between the gameplay depends on, like, if you're a survivor, the difference is what killer you get. Like, if you get this killer, okay, so I have to do this, and this. And then with the killer, it's the same thing. Just kill them, but with different abilities. The gameplay's the same.
Yeah, it never changes. The only thing that really changes is basically the different maps.
Yeah,
but
and depending on the meta, on the perks.
Behavior never added it like a different mode or, like made it more challenging, like, say, 6 versus 2, in order to make it. They just keep it the same thing that they've kept since the beginning, for better or worse. I guess it's just the loop that most of the hardcore Dead by Daylight fans prefer is, 4v1.
Yeah, but at the same time, they have like these events, like for example, the barbecue event.
Yeah.
It's basically the same game.
Yeah.
And the only thing you get is like bonuses, like whenever you hit somebody on a hook or something just because of the event.
Or you have to cleanse something or purify something or have a syringe for something, It gives you like more busy work to do in the game while you're trying to survive.
Yeah, but at least it gives you something, but it makes you wonder, like, why would you even play the game at all normally when you can just wait for the events and get extra stuff?
But what I find hilarious is time and time again, these events cause a weird alliance between the survivors and killers because they're more focused on trying to get that crap.
Yeah.
And they'll just start farming each other. Like, the killer's no longer after the survivors. The survivors are no longer really trying to escape. They're just trying to, like, have this uneasy alliance just to get this other thing done, which kind of defeats the purpose of the game.
Right. Like, for me, this actually happened, like, a month. Well, not a month. When I was playing DBD recently, like a month or two ago. Basically, this survivor, basically saw my name, and he wanted to actually do something. It's like, hey, can I stun you 3 times, and I need to do this for a challenge. And it's like, sure, and I need to hit you like 12 times. Is that okay? Good. And we did our basically our dailies together just to get the maximum amount of points. We weren't playing just because we wanted to play like the game normally. It's just because we had challenges that we had to do, and we were just playing because we had to.
Yeah.
Just because we were forced to do the stupid challenges in order to get more points. And at that point, you're not even playing the game properly. You're just grinding or farming with them.
Well, that brings up another issue that Dead by Daylight and other games have, is when you get moved up too high in the ranks and you get up against the sweats, you don't want to play against them anymore, so you start intentionally playing bad or AFKing or doing what a lot of killers do in Dead by Daylight, or like other games you've mentioned that you play that have tier systems in order to get out of that tier, because like I don't want to play against these a-holes. They're very sweaty. They're extremely competitive. I just want to have fun.
Right. And that's also another thing that just comes into the mind, of all these games as BMM.
Yeah.
And that's just another discussion for another time. But yeah, it's like all these games are just the same. Like, is there any other live service that's kind of like this? I'm trying to think of any other.
Unfortunately, there's just too many of them. I mean, there's.
I know, but that we play.
That we play? Let's see. Well, I mean, we used to play Red Dead, but we don't really play much Red Dead anymore because Rockstar kind of sort of abandoned that game.
Yeah, I'm thinking we have GTA, Overwatch, DBD, Fortnite.
But it's the same formula though with Red Dead Redemption, because a lot of people would focus on the trader role because that was the best way to make money in the game. And it's the same thing. You go hunting, you bring the materials back to crypts, you build up your bar, your supply bar, and then you go deliver it with you and a posse. Rent, cycle, repeat. Or you go do the bounty hunter missions, the same thing over and over and over again. Or you go tranking animals for Harriet over and over again.
Yeah, and it's just not fun.
Or you do the moonshining is basically a copy pasta of the trader mission, except for it's moonshine that you're delivering.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. And then you have the crappy PvP modes that only the hardcore PvP players care for. Everyone else is just, no thank you.
Yeah, and then you have, like, for example, with Battlefield.
Yeah.
It's like another chore because you have to do like all these weeklies. And it's like, oh, do this challenge or do this, or basically making you do stuff that you don't even want to play with, like kill this amount of people with this launcher that you don't care about, or all this shit just so you can get battle pass XP. Because get ready, because if you don't get the battle pass, all that shit's worthless anyway. Because I mean, you do have a free trial, but who's really gonna grind a free battle pass? Like, if you're gonna have a battle pass, you're gonna buy it.
I think there's some people out there that are just content with getting free stuff.
I know, but at the same time, it's like, ooh, I cannot wait to get the tier 70 free skin. Like, nobody grinds to tier 70 for a free skin now.
Yeah.
At that point, you're basically just buying the pass.
Yeah.
If you want. Nobody gets to, like, level 100 and be like, okay, well, I'm not buying the pass.
Yeah.
No, you're going to buy that shit. But, yeah, it's like all these games, it's like the same thing. It's the same thing with COD. It's like, you better play and do all this stupid bullshit so you can get the tier 100 skin, or you could pay $30 for the Black Cell edition and, like, skip some tiers and get all these skins and all these bonuses for $30. It's like you're paying half the game, money or whatever is the price of the game for skins and shit, and then you're going to use it once, and then the game's, like, so boring that it's like, meh. You stop caring after a while. It's like, for example, like, I had a little honeymoon phase with Modern Warfare 2. I got to tier 100. I bought the pass because I made it to tier 100. So I decided, fuck it, I'm buying it.
Yeah.
And then the game got so boring, I deleted it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just the way people played it. People are just too campy, sweating their balls off. Just every single person jump shotting for 1 kill. You see all these people, like, tryharding and sliding across doors only to go negative, like 14 and 29. It's like, you're trying so hard. Everybody's just trying all this shit and sweating, and they're not even, like, getting positive. It's like, that's why I've been playing, like, older Call of Duty games, like Ghost. I would play Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 3, but I don't have an Xbox One. So, yeah, I mean, meh. I mean, I would come up here in SGB to play, but I'm, like, no, I don't want to come up here and play up here,
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, this is his office, so I'm just going to let it for him.
Well, whenever you're playing with Kane, in Zombie Customs, you'll jump in for a little while and play, and then you maybe come back in a few weeks or so. But, I mean, the difference is there was a time when, like, multiplaying was a lot more fun. Like with those older COD games, like, for example, Red Dead Redemption multiplayer, something that several of us like to play, like myself, UG, Belfast. We got Red into it recently, along with Erica, Rogue Raccoon, and a few others. And I think the big reason why they didn't add multiplayer to the port for Red Dead Redemption is because they couldn't slap gold bars or a battle pass in there.
Right.
Because it's a complete multiplayer. It has what it has in it, including like a prestige system, like 5 levels of prestige and all this other stuff. But it's fun, though. It is enjoyable. Plus, it has undead overrun, so you can fight hordes of zombies, similar to how you like to do in COD Zombies. Not exactly the same, but still good times. But that's the thing. I mean, at first, when they were rolling out multiplayer games, they actually were thinking about the players and like how could the players enjoy these maps or these modes, and like the replayability is what mattered to them.
Yeah, exactly. Like back then, like all you had to do, like for example, BO2.
Yeah.
Like that game, they had to think of, okay, how do we make the game as fun as possible? Or Modern Warfare 3, or Black Ops 1. Like, how do we make the game fun? They weren't thinking of how do we make the most money.
Yeah.
Like when it came to the multiplayer, how can we, pay like get $20 out of them, like every single player. Like you just bought the game and you had fun. That's it. Maybe you bought the DLC packs that was just for more maps if you wanted to support them, but you still got a full good experience with the multiplayer. Like for example, BO2, it launched I think with like 30 plus guns or something and like 50 maps.
Yeah.
And you got like 16 more maps if you bought the DLC. But you had the game that was actually fun. Like nowadays you have like Modern Warfare 2 with like 8 or 9 maps and like a bunch of these guns that are just, overpowered or not. And it's like, oh, don't worry, we'll fix it later. And it's been like 5 months and you're like hoping that the game gets better, but it's not.
No.
And they add all these maps and it's like, yeah, I could have used these maps at launch when the game first came out. Not 7 months down the road when I don't care anymore. It's like you have to have people sticking around like at the beginning, not at the middle when people have already quit.
Yeah, they've moved on to other things.
Yeah, it's like that's the problem. We don't get a complete game anymore, and that's also something else that doesn't help with chores. It's just you're basically playing the game hoping that it gets good.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could do like what other people do and quit the game and then come back when it's good. You could do that. But some people just stick around. I don't know how people have fun like that.
Well, there's some people that are just hardcore. Maybe it's the only game they have, and they play it because they have no choice, or they're just so focused on ranking up, maxing out, getting everything in the game, being a completionist, or in GTA Online making as much money as possible, even if they'll never spend most of their money on any future content for GTA Online, because this game is long in the tooth. It's almost 10 years old now. And we're about 2, maybe 3 years away from GTA 6 and 6 Online. And Rockstar is going to abandon this game's live service as soon as they can. They're trying to milk every last drop out of this game as possible. And the game crashed. That's awesome. Thanks, Rockstar.
See, that's why they heard you complaining. It's like, nope.
That's so weird. Like, you think a nearly decade-old game wouldn't crash like that. Especially one that's technically not a decade old because we bought it back in March 2022.
Jesus.
And, hey, but we got the 60 FPS, and we got some new smoke and fire, and great.
Yep.
Could have been a free update, see? But it's just another point. Greed. Greed has trumped all these studios. I have no problem with these companies making money, especially if they put out a good product, whether it's a good single-player game, multiplayer online game, but they have become greedy. Because Rockstar has made so much money off of GTA and GTA Online, Shark Cards, now GTA Plus, that they could have offered everybody that had the PS4, Xbox One copy of GTA 5 and Online a free upgrade. Did they? No. I mean, for a limited amount of time, they did offer a free version of GTA Online for PlayStation Plus, but that's because they have a deal with Sony, and Sony's probably cutting them a little check for that.
Right.
But no, it's about greed. It's about trying to get every last dollar, pound, euro, nickel, and dime and penny out of us as possible. Meanwhile, we're grinding so desperately over and over again. The grind is becoming longer and harder in order to try to give them as little money as possible. But we're sacrificing our fun factor. We're sacrificing our time when we could be playing other games.
All right, so let me just go to another friend session.
Yeah, another fringe session.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's sad to see the direction of the gaming industry because I've grown to enjoy playing some games, especially with friends. I think that's what really makes the difference when it comes to an online game is that experience you share with those that you play with. Like when we play together in this game or Fortnite or a variety of other games with our friends, like you and Bounty Hunter and Overwatch, or me and like Yuji and Red and Belfast and Erica and Red Dead Redemption multiplayer. It's that experience that we share together that makes it the most fun. But it just sucks when it feels like we're just working another job on the side.
You're not even getting paid.
Yeah, we're getting paid. It's just we're getting paid in in-game currency or in-game XP or it's it's ridiculous.
But yeah, like they're just not like you're playing them because you have to.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I can't. I actually wait a minute. Never mind. I do remember when was the last time I had fun playing a game. It was Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay.
When actually no, because then there was Ruin.
Yeah, Ruin. You had fun playing Ruin.
Yeah, but guess what?
What?
What is Ruin in Ghost of Tsushima? What is it? What are they? Single player games.
Yeah.
They're single player games. They're not games as a service. We're playing games that are already complete. Games that already have everything they have to offer in the box. You buy the game, you get everything in there. Yeah. That's it. Unless maybe it's like Legends, but Legend already has everything that has come out. And Legends was just a side mode. That was just a bonus. Yeah. That was not the main thing. Like the main game itself of Ghost of Tsushima came everything out on launch. Unless you want to count Iki Island expansion, but still. Like the full story, the full, like gameplay, like that all came out on launch.
Yeah.
Like and you don't have to grind. I mean, if you want to grind for tokens and the story, but at that point you're playing the story. You're not actually grinding because you need to get better at the game or something.
No.
You're grinding because you're playing the story, and mostly because if you're invested in the gameplay, you're invested in the story and how cool these things are, and it's not like you're grinding for like a skin or a DLC. Then you got to grind all this boring gameplay. Because the next DLC is coming or something.
Yeah.
Or buy enough money so you can have enough money so you can have enough money for the shop skins or something. No, you're actually playing because there's a story, there's gameplay, there's, all these characters, there's, stuff that you can relate to or, cool shit like that. Then you have Ruin, which is another, good, I will say it's a good game. I like the story behind it. And I like the characters, especially Mexis is one of my favorite characters. I mean, he doesn't talk, but his gameplay is fucking cool. Yeah. Like, with the mask and his little jump scares and the way his design looks amazing. The game is actually fun for me. Doing all these puzzles and, following the story, which I care about. I'm not grinding for a skin in that game. I'm not going to go, trying to get the next battle pass in Ruin. I'm playing because I'm genuinely invested and I want to try.
You're just playing a video game.
I'm playing a video game the way it's supposed to be. But, like, all these multiplayer games, it's not the same. Like, go play Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 3, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and play the new versions of them nowadays. It's night and day difference. The game has, changed and not for the better, sadly.
And that's what I don't understand. Because these studios have been making these games for years. And I know it's not the same people making these games that were once making the previous versions. But you think of all the data they have out there and all the feedback over the years from the community, like the developers would know what works and what doesn't work in their games. You think that by now they'd had enough trial and error after every one of these games to come out with some of the best online multiplayer games ever with as little problems or issues. I mean, there'll always be problems and issues and glitches and a crash in a nearly a decade-old game like a moment ago on a PS5, but okay, Rockstar. But they still come out with problems. They still have issues, and they still piss off players because they make these stupid decisions.
Okay, well, here's the thing, right? Especially with Call of Duty. Like, BO2 is like the most balanced Call of Duty we've ever had.
Yeah.
You think after 10 years from BO2, they could have balanced it perfectly. Like, like all the guns. But guess what? They don't. And you know why?
Why?
Because they sell you on the full promises that don't worry, in the next game, we'll have it fixed. And we got all these single problems, like for example, like all these things from Modern Warfare 2, like slide canceling and reload canceling and the dots on the minimap, and all these shit that they're promising. They could add it in a patch. They could. They if they want. But guess what? They don't, because they're selling you on the promise that, and don't worry, in the next game we will definitely do this.
And here's the thing. They know that these are things people want from previous games. And yet they're so slow to re-add them back. Just like the worst offenders are the sports games.
Yeah.
Because they put out basically the same game every year over and over and over again. And they'll take things that they removed from a previous game, and then they'll bring it back and act like, oh, wow, we're adding this new feature.
It's a copy-paste jump.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just, like, that's also something else that doesn't help with the problem. It's just this whole getting rid of thing and then putting it back and pretending like it's a new feature. It's like, no, don't. Like, people don't forget. Like, well, some people do. Like, some people are like, oh, like that's back. That's cool. We haven't seen that in forever. But that's not new. Yeah. Like, everything that's coming in Modern Warfare 3 is not new.
No.
That's all, like, features that have been removed that we want to come back. That's it. Yeah. And then there's going to be new issues that could easily be removed or could be implemented, like things that we need. And they're going to be like, oh, don't worry, we'll add them in the next game. And then make you pay another $70 for it. And that's just the quick cycle of Call of Duty, especially. That's why after Modern Warfare 2, I'm not buying with anything. I'm not bothering with anything anymore, because I've been getting so fucked recently with those games, and it's so expensive that even with a sale, I wouldn't even recommend buying it.
Yeah, when we talked about this before we started recording, the beta was announced.
Oh yeah, it's in October. The beta for Modern Warfare 3 is in October, and the game comes out in November. So I'm gonna tell you guys this. If you guys played a Modern Warfare 3 beta, that's not a beta, that's a demo. So what you're playing is what you're gonna get.
Yeah, it's the game.
That's what you're playing, it's the game. Sure, there might be more content in the game, because of course they have to be more. But basically, what you play is what you get. So if you hate the beta, don't buy the game. Just no. Don't think about, oh, they'll change a few things. No.
They don't have enough time to do that.
If they're going to change a few things, they'll change it like 7 or 8 months down the line, or they'll change it in the next game where they can charge you another $70 for it.
Yeah, and bear in mind, once again, just like Kane pointed out, this is not actually a legit game. This was originally an expansion DLC pack that they beefed up and rushed out the door,
right, and
slapped Modern Warfare 3 to it and charged $70 for the base version. Like, the next Call of Duty game was not supposed to come out for 2 years, not a year later.
Yeah, I think the next one was going to be Treyarch with BO5 or BO Gulf War or whatever they're calling it. I don't know.
I just don't know why people are so hyped for this game after being disappointed over and over again. It's the same mentalities the sports gamers have.
Well, I don't know who's the people you're referring to, because I haven't seen anybody.
Well, people are pre-ordering it, and people are going to play it.
No, I don't get it. But yeah, that's basically it for this.
Yeah.
Because I swear, it's just like games are just not fun anymore. Like, that's the reason I'm not playing. Like, for example, I haven't posted really much anything on my channel, but that's just because besides Candy, right? Which I still have to play. But that's an indie title. That's not like a main game. That's like an indie title. You play once, that's it. And it's not fun. Like, all these games are just not fun. That's why, I barely touch my PS5. Like, there's nothing I want to play. Unless it's Save the World so I can get my V-Bucks. But again, I'm playing it because I have to, not because of money. Not because of fun.
Well, and to hang out with a few friends.
And to hang out with a few friends sometimes.
And we actually did play some Battle Royale, and that lasted, 20 minutes or something?
Before I got pissed and left.
Yeah, we just got annoyed because we were going up against sweaty players with, ranked 300, 400 players. And we were just like, really?
Yeah, we're rank 100. And, because we completed the battle pass recently, and we're facing low 400, 500s, it's what the hell? But, yeah, what was I gonna say? Basically, games, like I said, I'm basically just playing Save the World because I have to, because of, saving money, because if I don't grind the game, get ready to pay up some good money, because that's just how it is, sadly. And I just hate it. I hate having to pay, for games nowadays. It's just it's so expensive. That's also another thing that doesn't help. It's I have to pay 70 bones just for a game. And the game is not even guaranteed to be good. So don't worry, pay $70 now and we'll fix it 6 years later. It's when I don't care.
Yeah, after you've moved on to something else.
Yeah. That's just and again the whole thing of grinding so you don't have to pay. Like I'm not playing the game for fun. I'm playing the game to save myself money in real life because I'm not gonna buy a shark card. I'm gonna tell you that much. So I'm gonna have to play all this bullshit non-fun gameplay so I can actually not grind. I mean, so I can actually not have to spend money in real life.
But here's the sad reality, like I was just talking about a moment ago. This game is near the end of its life. I mean, it's been kept in life support for way too long. The last few updates have been utter disappointments. This jet is the only good thing about the last update.
Yeah, this jet literally carried the update and the laser and hydro nerf.
Yeah, and they even removed nearly 200 cars so they could repurpose them as FOMO and lock them behind GTA Plus.
Yeah.
So it's clear they're running out of ideas. I mean, look at the weaponized Kanata, that piece of shit helicopter. Like, Gilly Master and many other people gave them ideas how to make that an amazing attack helicopter. And it's obvious that they just whipped that thing together without any proper testing because it's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
They don't care anymore. They're focusing on GTA 6 and obviously GTA 6 Online. They're going to start the whole process over again. And it's sad because I think that they could make the grind funner, but they don't care. Like the early days of the contact missions for the most part were fun. The original heists were fun. But over time, it became more about focusing on grind, and doing the same thing over and over again, exactly the same, which is just delivery missions.
I mean, it's the same thing with the contact missions back when the game came out with Rooftop Rumble.
Yeah, and that did annoy me back in the day because I enjoyed playing Rooftop Rumble, but I loved doing the contact missions. All of them. Well, maybe one or two I didn't care for, but I would jump into a random group, right? Just to grind contact missions. And most of the time, it would be Rooftop Rumble. And I'd be sitting there going like, oh, not again.
Well, that's the thing. People are not playing that mission for fun. They're playing it because they have to.
So, in a way, it's kind of the community's own doing of what's happened here.
Well, the thing is, okay, here it is, right? Okay, well, the thing is that it's their own doing because they're forced.
Yeah.
It's not they don't want to. It's that they're forced by the company by making all these grinding missions, and they're like, okay, well, this is the best one, and even though it's not fun, it gives out the best money. So basically, you're forced to grind these stupid missions, and they're not playing it because of fun. They're playing it because they have to.
Well, that's true because, like I mentioned a moment ago, at the time, pre-heist, in the early days of GTA Online, that was how you made money, was the contact missions. Some contact missions paid shit. Some of them paid pretty decent for back then, but even still, it was a small amount of money, like maybe like $20, $25, maybe $30,000, depending on certain things you would do. Like at first, you would rush through them, and then Rockstar decided, nope, we're not going to let you rush through them anymore. You have to take your time. So people would just start dragging their ass to these contact missions and just sit around doing nothing for like 20, 30 minutes just so they could get max pay. And it just got so boring and tiresome, especially when like the tried and true like metas even back then would be the ones that people would jump into. So on one hand, I do understand why players were grinding Rooftop Rumble because it was the best way to make money at the time.
But I'm leaning to the whole thing of they're not playing it because they want to.
Well, I know.
They're playing it because they have to.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm referring to here.
Yeah.
Because you're forced to do all this stupid shit that you don't want to do, so you can actually, get the most amount of score, first of all, for you, and second of all, to save money so you don't have to pay for more shit in real life.
Yeah.
And it leads to that whole thing. Are you playing the game because you want to, or are you playing the game because you have to?
Well, back then it was a little bit of both because a lot of us enjoyed playing GTA Online. It was a simpler time. The best thing we had were buying high-end apartments and the 10-car garage.
Well, guess what?
And getting the adder and eventually they added the Zentorno and some other content.
Some porno, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing. I'm just not having fun with games. I just had this little discussion in my head, basically, that I'm just not having fun with games because you're playing games because you have to, not because you want to. And when there's nothing that I want, like in the newer games, like once the whole grinding stops, because let's just say you did all your dailies, right?
Okay.
And Save the World. And are you gonna keep playing Save the World?
Yeah. I'll help out. Like if you need help with a couple missions or Red or somebody else, yeah, I'll stay in and help. And just because we're just hanging out and chatting and having random conversations and just having a good time together.
Right, but are you playing because you want to or because you have to?
A little bit of both. I mean, I want to hang out with all of you in voice chat, whenever we're playing Battle Royale or playing Save the World or any other online game we play together. But, everyone has ulterior motivations and, some selfishness. And I guess the XP we get is that selfishness because you want to move up your, max out the battle pass if you're interested in that, or V-Bucks in your case.
Right. But it just, comes back to the point that I'm just playing the game because I have to.
Okay. So I do have a question at the very end.
Okay.
Since we've talked about the obvious that I think most people would agree with, what can be done for future online multiplayer games to make it feel less of a chore? Because that's the entire premise of this video, is because you and I were like taking the dishes out of the dishwasher and then loading clothes into the washing machine. You were like, hey, I have this idea for a video. And I'm like, okay, what is it? And you were like, hey, video games are kind of like chores now. I'm like, yeah, here we are.
Yep, pretty much.
That's
the whole backstory.
So is there a way that we could... I know that the AAA multi-billion-dollar corporate heads, Kotick, Strauss, they're not going to listen to us. But is there a way that maybe we can make future online games, like, for example, GTA 6 Online, less grindy and actually be enjoyable, but at the same time make money? Is there a way to accomplish that, or is it just impossible?
Well, we have options like back in the day, like BO2. The game was fun because of certain changes, like making Ghost Perk actually being worth, while moving.
Yeah.
So that way you don't promote camping. You want to promote things that are actually healthy for the game and that people use for moving, or that's in Call of Duty though.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Battlefield. It's like, for example, let's just say BO2, right? And some people would have no problem, because that's the most balanced Call of Duty game. Some people would have no problem just having that game and then just keep updating it.
Yeah.
Just keep giving it more camos, more guns, more perks, more maps, more everything. And it can be balanced because, basically after 10 years of Call of Duty, you're supposed to know what you want in the game or not.
Yeah.
And, you can make polls as well in Twitter. Should we add this to the game? And then you show a whole minute or 2 minutes of gameplay, with the new thing or something. You can make polls and then just have one game, and then just, you could promote it, but at the same time, don't make it super grindy, every single time, get $20. Just make the game, basically cost $60. There you go. There's going to be new players every single time. Just cost $60, but you get the whole game and you get everything.
Okay.
If you want to pay for
cosmetics?
No, well, if it's cheap. If you want to pay for cosmetics, make it cheap so it's accessible, make it $2 or something, back in the day.
Yeah, because that's one issue that a lot of us have with the item shops in a lot of games, including Diablo 4. The cosmetics, they're cosmetics. You don't need them in order to play good and improve anything, but some of them look really good, but they're expensive as hell.
Also make things earnable. Because this is something that new games don't use. Basically, if you want to have a new skin, you have to buy it from the shop.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So make things good. If you get 500,000 kills with an SMG, you got this beautiful, good-looking reactive SMG camo, or you have 1 million kills on your profile, you get this beautiful-looking suit, and this beautiful profile animated calling card, and it's huge achievement, or you get a crown on your head, or something like that. Maybe you get blings, or I don't know, something like that. You get 500 kills with a shotgun. You get this beautiful looking reactive camo for all your shotguns. Shit like that, rewarding shit. Or, I don't know, just something reward. That's also people want. People want to feel rewarded, because the only thing that people just do now is play the game, and here you go, spend $20 on a new skin.
Yeah.
And the gameplay's not even fun. It's that's the problem. They have to make sure the game is fun first. Not a grind fest. They make sure it's fun first. And just make sure it's just not for example, Modern Warfare 2, where the game is boring as fuck, but the skins are cool. And you're not playing the game because it's fun. You're playing the games because the skins look cool. And it's okay, well, I'm going to buy the new skin, even though I can't see it because it's a first-person game.
Yeah.
But, for example, Overwatch has it right, where you can use, emotes, and then you can actually see your skin and do stuff. But yeah, like Modern Warfare. I guess the whole thing is just like go back to Black Ops 2, and then just take it from there. Add more maps and all these other stuff, and the game's never gonna be unbalanced because of 10 years of experience. Or at this point, it's like they started in 2007 to now, so they have like 15 years or something. So they could make a balanced Call of Duty game with everything that people want. They could. It's just that they don't want to. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think we've gone for long enough. And that's pretty much it. I've said everything I wanted to say. I think that in order to make games fun again, they need to focus on the gameplay and less on the skins and on the battle passes. They need to focus on making the game fun, not like being hooked for like a weekend and that's it. Because that's just, it's boring. It's boring. That's just sadly, it's gonna like get you money like now, but it won't give you like a good reputation later on.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the lesson that I guess they could learn from this conversation, if there's any developers watching or anybody at any of these studios or publishers, is maybe look back at the past in order to do better in the future. Past multiplayer online games, why were they fun? Why did players enjoy these older games that Riley and I and so many others have been talking about?
Yep.
And look at those games. And there is a formula there. There's a recipe there that you can take and implement it properly into future online multiplayer games and to actually make them fun again and not feel like such a chore. And at the same time, make profit, because I get it. These are companies. They want to make money. I understand that. But you also want to keep your community happy. You also want to make sure that they have balance, that things are properly nerfed or buffed, and there's replayability to these games.
Yeah, because that's the thing. They make the missions boring as possible so you can actually, have to pay real money. So, it's like, okay, well, you don't have to play these boring-ass missions, because the developers have to know these missions are boring as hell. It's like, oh, make sure these missions are boring as hell, but if you pay $15 right now, you can skip them.
Yeah, but it's just sad because, like, with the COD developers, you have a whole bunch of awesome previous COD games and different modes, like a whole bunch of good zombie modes that you've loved over the years, and different maps and, like, different genres, and for, like, all these other games, like previous Battlefields or previous things in, like, GTA 4 multiplayer or Red Dead Redemption multiplayer. The list goes on, that they could just look at and say, hey, this is what players really, really liked. This is what really made this online multiplayer game work and why people would just not stop playing it. And there's community still around a lot of these older games. Like on Xbox, there's still people that play Red Dead Redemption multiplayer from the 360, Xbox One, and even on Xbox Series. And same thing with GTA 4 multiplayer on Xbox. There's people that still play it over a decade later. Why? Because they're fun. Because they have replayability, which is what online games need to have going forward.
Yeah, and that's just something that online games sadly just don't. I mean, some of them do.
Some, with a few exceptions.
It's so rare to see them. Like, most games are just like a grind fest, and then they just pay money on the side. And it's just not fun. Sadly, it's just not fun.
No, it's not. At best, you get hits or miss, like with Fortnite's recent seasons. Like, the previous season was fun. That
was actually a really fun season.
Yeah, but Wilds has sucked. Maybe this upcoming Eclipse high season will be fun again. And then we'll be more inclined to play more Battle Royale than Save the World. But it just comes down to figuring out what's working and go with that, improve upon that, build upon that, and toss away what doesn't work.
Right. If you want, okay, so for Fortnite, here you go. You better be listening. No drum shotgun. Just number one. Never add that thing ever again.
No more weeb stuff.
And no more weeb stuff. Get rid of the anime stuff, especially the whole season, like Chapter 1.
Like
Chapter 4, Season 1.
I think it's, what most people have the problem with is the I guess the weapons, the LP weapons they introduce whenever they do, like Dragon Ball Z or My Hero Academia or Jujutsu.
Yeah, the weeb shit. Like, get rid of that shit.
Like, if people want to run around with those characters, that's fine. I don't care. It's your money. If you want to be one of your favorite anime characters or whatever, like, licensed products or skins they happen to have in Fortnite, but that doesn't affect the gameplay. It's that extra crap, like the kinetic crap, or like you said, the drum shotgun or the Kamehameha. That's ridiculous. It doesn't need to be there.
No, it doesn't.
Except for the lightsabers.
Oh, the
Hypocrite 100.
Well, I don't think the lightsabers are as annoying as the anime shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather have the lightsabers every day than having like one day of the Kamehameha.
But you know, there would be people that complain about that. They say, well, what about the force powers? What about the lightsabers? Okay, so some of us some of us actually did like those.
Yeah, but anyways, I think that we're getting a little bit off topic.
Yeah, we are.
But yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed our little conversation, I guess. It's just something to talk about, you know, like sometimes, you know us. We talk about a little something, we get into it, then we go off topic, then we go back to the topic. You know us, it's just how it is. But, I mean, what about you guys? Is there any games that you guys play that are like an absolute chore to play? That you're like, I play this game, but it's such a chore to play. Like, there has to be a game, at least one, that you've played. Like if it's like a recent Call of Duty game or Fortnite or DBD or Master Duel or any other game.
Or this game.
Or Brother Online.
Rip.
But yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed. I guess I'll put GB's channel in the description or in the tag.
Thank you. How generous.
I guess I'll leave him a spot. I guess he can do a little self-plugging.
Ouch.
But anyways, hopefully you guys have enjoyed. And I'll talk to y'all later with the next video or live stream. Bye-bye.